speed. Right, g'day everyone. Today we're going to talk a little bit about training at low rates. Now, training at low rate is very important, okay? The reason being that rating is very linear, okay? It continues on a very good even path. Whereas speed, on the other hand, is exponential, okay? So when we get to a point, it's a lot harder to gain very small amounts of speed. So the reason that we train at low rates is so that we can really dial in the form and get really good rhythm and focus and technique while we're rating low, which allows us to get better step ups through that linear rating, okay? If we start our training at sort of 18, 20, 22 rating in that very low end of the spectrum, then what it allows us to do is it allows us to push ourselves to find that speed at that level, and so that when we go up through the ratings, we get an increase every time. Now, yes, it is an exponential increase, so it will taper off as we get up into that higher rates. But the idea is that if we can get that form and we can get that focus when we're down at that low rates, it allows us to have step ups all the way through. Now, if we start and we're doing a lot of our rating work quite high, quite fast, we don't get as much of a step up, okay? So we're losing potential. Okay, the potential speed that we can possibly get. Now, it is difficult because when we are rating low, it is very hard, okay? Because ultimately, with the machine and with the rhythm that we create, if we're speeding up into the catch and we're stopping at the catch, we're not quite picking it up properly, okay? Or we feel like we're stopping at the finish with our hands. So there's a whole lot of different factors that come into the equation when we're doing this training at low rate. Okay, one of the things to remember is that we are on a machine. Now, whatever machine that we are on, generally what's going to happen is that the chain is going to be trying to get back as far as it can and as quick as it can towards the flywheel. Okay, now if we use that and we visualize that while we're on the machine, it allows us to put the effort in while we work, and then we want to relax on the recovery. Okay, so what it allows that, and what I mean by that is that we can really push our bodies, we can get that technique and that sequence going, and then when we're coming forward, we basically are just trying to recover as much as we possibly can. So then when we get to the next stroke, we can pick up the next stroke and we can go as fast as we can. Okay, so while we've got that low stroke rate, it gives us that ability to allow that to happen, okay, to visualize. So what we're actually doing is we're slowing down the mind, okay? We're slowing down the body by coming forward, and we're slowing down the mind. We're not thinking about a whole lot of stuff, okay? So it really allows us to come forward. We visualize what's happening on the recovery. We get set ready for the next stroke. We feel that compression coming underneath us, and then we take the next stroke. Okay, and that's what happens at that low stroke rate, is that if we're zipping along at sort of that medium 24, 26 rate, we never really give ourselves the opportunity to think about our technique, to think about our production, to think about how much efficiency we can put in it. Because ultimately there's only so much effort that we can put in as an individual. And so if we can conserve as much as possible, and we can really work with the machine, and we can pick the speed of the machine up well, okay, and we can keep the flywheel spinning as fast as it is, then ultimately we're going to see a better speed on the screen, okay? And that's why training at low rates is quite important, because when we get that technique right at the lower rates, we find that efficiency, then we can take that efficiency through the steps as we go. So when we are asked to do interval training, then we're like, yes, I know how to stay relaxed. I know how to move my hands. I know how to be quiet on the recovery, be relaxed, try and conserve some of that energy so that I can really put some good speed into the machine. Okay, and that just does give us that chance to think about the stroke, to analyze each stroke, because we've got some time coming forward. Okay, and so then we can think about, you know what, I didn't quite get the catch. I think my finish is a bit harsh. I didn't really get that sequence of the legs and body through the middle. Okay, now I'll do it this stroke. Okay, and so we do have some time to really think within ourselves as we're analysing each stroke. When we get up into that high stroke rate, there is no time to analyse. We are going backwards and forwards quite metronomic and quite quickly. And so this is why we dial it in at low stroke rates, we get it right as best as we can, and then in our training and in our practice, we dip up into some medium rate, we dip up a little bit higher, and we're doing the same form as we are doing at the low rate, and we're taking it through to the high rate. Okay, so very important. We get things right low, we touch it a little bit higher, we come back, we refine it, and we keep moving in and out of that level. And that's really how we dial in a good technique, doing it at that low rate, take it to the high stuff. So our form at 20 rate should be the same if we were doing something at 32 or 34. Okay, so hope that little piece of advice can help you out. So I hope you enjoyed it. Plenty more to come. Tune back in here next time.